Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning Idiom. Today we have a special presentation. The treasurer of our nonprofit is going to be giving us a short presentation. That way we can learn from and we can definitely take all of these things and keep it in mind just so that we can better uh, you know, just be better with money. I think a lot of people don't really know what to do with money sometimes. And so here are some tips from our treasurer. So go ahead, take it away, Cameron. And
Hello.
yeah, we'll go from
Hello, hello, hello. I am an accountant. Well, I mean, accountant is a funny word because you don't have to be a CPA to technically be an accountant. You can have like majored in business. You could not have majored in anything. So it's like, I work primarily with nonprofits. So I'm super excited to like help Learning Idiom out. I put together a little keynote about what I like to call balling on a budget, just like being able to manage the balance of fun and expenses and saving, because those are pretty much where most Americans kind of like struggle. And so, we want to make our money work for us without feeling deprived of like what we want. And we want it to feel I don't know, like worthy of it, Like when you work hard and you're not feeling rewarded, it can definitely make things a little more tough for sure. Like you don't want to work for that. Like it's hard. So, anyone can save room for fun and still be financially responsible. You can still save room for fun and save money for the future. It doesn't matter like what side of the income spectrum you land, because either way, there are going to be individuals who make a lot of money and can't save and can't, manage their funds correctly. And there are going to be people who don't make, nearly as much, but are generally okay and don't have that kind of issue. So I'm going to just sort of get it going here, talking a little bit about budgeting for the long term. Um, we want to get just like a basic understanding of that because I feel like the word budget just kind of like is like stressful. It's like a non-fun word. So there are ways to actually make it like relatively exciting. Um, Living without overspending. We'll get into that. We'll get there. And then financial literacy and its importance and economic uncertainty. So all of these terms sound super boring when you talk about it, but I'm going to try and make it a little like loosey-goosey for us because I'm not so serious. So let's start by laying out the foundation. Like everything we're going to cover, why budgeting matters, like setting the stage for practical tips. I just want you to see how these like concepts that I've laid out will directly fit into like any American's daily life and like how that sorry, just doing a little rearrangement. Um and how like these concepts and these little I kind of think of it as like financial lifestyle hacks can help anyone, like regardless of your income. So why should it matter to you? That's why we want to make our money work for us, not the other way around. We don't want to be at the hands of how much money we have in our account. So, it's kind of like it's a lot of self-determination and self-restraint involved in personal finance. Um, Leveraging financial security is the concept that you can build an emergency fund, save, and focus on maybe a few wants and all the needs. So I kind of laid out here what what like wants and needs are. We all basically know. Like you go to the grocery store, we need that. We don't necessarily need to go to the movies or like have 50 streaming services. But if, and I'll get into this, if that's something that to you is important, you can fit that in and still have financial success. Like it's totally possible. You can save for these things that are like, they seem super expensive in the moment, but planning ahead is like really going to be your best friend with that kind of stuff. Like having fun includes being prepared. Um, so, so like financial security starts with building an emergency fund, usually. And that's like step one, in my opinion. Unexpected expenses happen, like medical bills, car repairs, job loss. And so creating that safety net is like super important, not just for you, but for your loved ones. I mean, when we struggle, they struggle, and when they struggle, we struggle. So it's really nice to know that we might have some security net when it comes to potential job loss or circumstances outside of our control. And it's not, I don't want to get into numbers or anything because I feel like that's beside the point because like the main thing with this is making sure that you're sticking to it. Anyone can make a budget, anyone can make goals, but you have to have resolution to sort of achieve those goals. And in finance, it's especially pertinent because I mean, as an accountant for nonprofits, it's like that we're accounting for every dollar. And I see myself and my own finances the way a business sees their finances. And so that's why, I try and look at it like that. Um, everyone can like live well. Like I keep going back to this, the self-restraint idea, knowing what is important to you, leveraging local resources. These are all important things. So I'm just gonna dive in a little bit to them. A budget is only going to be as powerful as you make it. So it's important to know that what you choose on your budget is going to be reflected in your own ability to be determined with it. So if you're going to stick to your budget, it has to be realistic to you while also sticking to your basic needs as the priority. It's easy to make a budget. It's hard as hell to stick to it. So, we all go to the store and we're faced with temptation on a daily basis. We all go online and we see ads. You can't even go through Instagram without getting ads for something that you're like, wow, that's exactly me. Um, but there are like a lot of useful hacks. Like I go back to financial lifestyle hacks that can make budgeting a little more interesting. My family and we kind of make it into a competition. And so like we'll all like if there's something that like a big purchase or something that's like needed, like a new computer, your old one broke, whatever, we'll make it into a competition and whoever can find the cheapest deal. And losing that competition actually feels good because it's like someone's like saving you money. Like this is good. This is good for you and your future. So it's like another way to just kind of make it interesting. Okay, so knowing what is important to you is like probably key here again, in addition to self-restraint. So if you can find balance in your budget, if you can estimate and set aside a certain amount a month out of what you make, you can decide how much you'll spend on like having a good time. And being aware ahead of time is going to make it more realistic because a budget, again, has to be realistic for the individual. Um, there are ways to have a good time without, you know, without breaking your bank account or your back. Um, you can literally leverage local resources. There are local, I'm going to say libraries. That's fun for me. It's not for everyone. There are local libraries, but there are also like local pools. There are community centers. There's local events. Every town has some sort of local calendar of events. And these are really amazing ways to make super memorable experiences without um, like having to spend a super big amount or having to stress about spending because as Americans we're all just like waiting for the next bill literally. So yeah, that's a little bit about like the resources aspect, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about wabi sabi. This is something that I've kind of gotten into recently. It's the Japanese concept and philosophical idea that um, beauty is made from imperfection and impermanence, and it natural beauty is simplicity. So basically, if you have a pretty lamp and I'm sorry, and it breaks, um, if you can fix it, the the fix alone adds, in this philosophical viewpoint, it adds beauty to the item. It adds individuality. It adds character. And that is something that makes it a little more meaningful. I personally have been trying to adopt this in a lot of ways. I don't want to get a new car until I absolutely need one. I don't want to get a new laptop until I absolutely need one. We live in a culture of consumption, and it's like it makes it really difficult to appreciate what we have because we're only focused on what other people are getting. And so, this Japanese philosophy to me is like a really beautiful way around those basic day-to-day sort of wants and, temptations that we all deal with. So, financial literacy, I don't want to spend too much time on this slide just because I want it to be more of a resource than a go through, but I will, we talked a little about budgeting. Saving is super important and it's not easy to do that. So I typically recommend people look into their savings rules that they're and like budgeting tools that their banks offer. A lot of banks offer like a roundup option for purchases and it just adds the change to your savings. That's one way. And some people find it super beneficial. Other people find putting $20 away from every paycheck superficial or, 100. Um, personally, not personally, if you have a job where you have a 401k and they match your 401k contributions, which is basically like just, oops, putting money away into your savings, um, that is super, super good. So if they match, I always tell people to um, contribute the maximum match account. So if they'll match 100% of your contributions to like 5% of your salary, that if let's say you make 45,000 a year, that's going to be $90 that you put in and then $90 that they put in. That's $180. Like that's $90 doubled without doing anything, and that's going to be for your future. And like to me, that's super worth it because double money is better than single money. We want more. Everyone wants more. So yeah, so emergency planning, understanding savings, understanding long-term savings, being ready to retire one day. Like, and even if we all know that maybe one day we probably won't be able to retire, we can at least save for the contingencies that will undoubtedly occur. So that's going to be that one. And then economic uncertainty. So this is a super depressing subject in my opinion. But I'm just gonna get through it because it's just super annoying. Um, Economic uncertainty is something that we all face, but no one is like super comfortable talking about it. And like, well, some people are. There are people, oh my God, I just got the best deal. And I love that. I'm like, look at that. That's appreciation for the object rather than, the amount of money that was spent on it. And a lot of people have those priorities mixed up. So, economic uncertainty is something we all face, but it makes predicting our financial future super challenging. There are so many aspects that play into, the economy. Without going super deep into it, politics plays a big aspect. The I'm sorry, the stock market plays a big aspect. People's saving habits and spending habits play a very large aspect. And the employment, like, and at least in the United States, the employment rate makes a very big impact as well. So, in terms of just like understanding the priorities for economic uncertainty, if people are losing jobs a lot, it should raise a red flag in your mind. Like, let me reevaluate just to make sure. that I'm prepared for the worst case because again, contingencies will occur. Like crap happens. Um, Higher costs are unavoidable. It's depressingly unavoidable. We all have sticker shock at the grocery store right now, but it's important to note that the economy and when you're watching the news, their reports about the economy typically don't include food pricing and food purchases. And so the economy can be really good and booming, and the grocery business and industry can be absolute crap, and we can all be overspending on everything. Well, they're on the news telling us, oh, the economy's in its best place ever, blah, blah, blah. Yet we can't even like get dinner. So it's a complex thing. And I encourage everyone to follow at least some sort of like MSNBC news, or I guess it's MS now, um, business news and economic news, like just being at least somewhat aware of what to expect is gonna benefit you. Like we don't want to feel powerless to what we have in our accounts. We don't want to feel powerless to our resources. And these are little ways that can give you power back. So investments are, you have to have savings. You have to have that restraint, that self-determination to get to a point where you're comfortable investing in the stock market, investing in, bonds or big investment groups or whatever, however it works. It's there you can invest in a company, you can invest in an investment group. It's just like endless opportunities, and a lot of them can really pay off, but you have to be in a place to risk loss. You have to be in a place where you can put money into something and say, if I lose it, I lose it. Never put more than what you can never put more than what you can spend on anything onto anything at all, because it is only going to ruin your life in the future. These things come back real hard. So, in conclusion, um, continuing to develop your financial literacy is, for everyone on earth. That's super important. In America, we have a lot of financial opportunity, and it creates very competitive markets and industries. If you go anywhere else in the world, it's hard to find specialist doctors that deal with specific things, for instance. And that is primarily because the American economic system rewards the overpayment to doctor system kind of thing. So in America, we have this ridiculous medical insurance system that is built on overpaying doctors, whereas anywhere else in the world, that is not a thing. And pharmaceutical companies are limited in their abilities to go after people, or, hospitals can't sue someone for not paying their copay. All I'm saying, and in conclusion, is that knowing all of this, preparing yourself and doing that like self-research, self-education, reading, just giving, even if it's 15 minutes a day to just trying to understand it better, that will pay off and it'll only be beneficial to you. So that's what I have.
Yay. Yeah. I totally agree with a lot of what you said, except for the 401k, just because I'm an IRA type of person.
Right, and that's fine.
Oh,
If
and
it
then
works for you, then
yeah,
work it.
whatever works for you. And
Yeah,
the 401k, a lot of people, unfortunately, I had a bad experience, my mom had a bad experience, and that's probably why.
right.
Because of the language barrier, my mom lost her 401k that she had been earning, because
Okay.
she didn't know who to contact to get it when she left that
Yeah,
job to another one. And so
right.
that's the one thing that I do appreciate about an IRA is that it's not connected to your work. It's
Yes,
its own thing. And so
right.
that's one thing that I loved about the IRA is that there wasn't that risk that I personally saw my mom lose money because she was essentially doing the right thing,
Right.
but
No, of course
uh,
she was trying to be responsible
trying to
and
be
it worked
responsible.
against her.
Yeah,
And
and
you know,
and
that
that's the
brings up
danger.
another great point where it's like we can do the right thing and it can work against us in a lot of ways. Banks fail. Things happen that are outside of our control. And so any one of my pieces of financial advice should be taken with a grain of salt because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's all
Yeah,
about just
I mean that's
educating
the one thing
yourself.
about, financial literacy is that, like you said, this is what it is now, but tomorrow we could have a whole new system.
Right.
Who thought that we
Everything
were
can
not going to
change.
have pennies anymore?
Right? Who thought
You
that,
know?
gas prices would soar when they bought a boat last year, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like anyone has their own situation where these things affect them differently.
And that's another thing for about your taxes. Is like so many people they know how to do taxes, but you have to keep up with the tax laws in your state because they
Right.
change every year. And
It
so,
that changes every year in your state. It changes every couple years federally, and those federal changes affect state changes, and there's a lot to keep up with. It's crazy.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Cameron, and we definitely are very grateful for your presentation.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, stay on the
Thank
lookout
you, Cameron.
um for our upcoming financial literacy classes. We're going to do them it's going to be a trilingual event, y'all. I'm very excited. So it's going to be English,
Okay.
Spanish, and Portuguese. So if you know any of those languages or if you know someone, definitely invite them out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're gonna try to make it a lot of fun. I want to do little like, prizes and stuff and just make it a little bit different. Um, Even if it's like a a gift card or something, something to incentivize people to learn about finances, to, learn about what credit is, what you can do with it and everything. I think that's very important, especially in
Right.
the Latino community. A lot of them don't know how to do that just because it's
And
a different system in their country. And so they come here and they don't know the system. And so, but
credit
thank you
is
so
very
much.
complex. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for your
Of
presentation.
course. Thanks, guys. It was good being on.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Take care,
Everyone.
everyone.